still make money selling digital products and online courses in 2026, or has AI completely killed them off? I could just tell you that they're not dead, but seeing that this is my bread and butter, you'd probably think that I'm biased and you wouldn't take my word for it, so let me show you instead. Sam Vanderbillen, who's an ex-attorney, just had a $500,000 launch selling legal templates. Templates that her buyers could have easily Googled for free or just asked Claude to create them. Linda, a high school student, launched a study tips digital product and did multiple 5 figures in her first launch alone, while still being in high school and maintaining a 4.0 perfect GPA. Jasmine went from burned out at 9 to 5 to full-time creator by selling a $97 guide about DJI Osmo Pocket, the same camera that already has thousands of free tutorials on YouTube available. Why am I telling you all of this? Because I want you to see the example of completely different niches, completely different products, teaching things that people could have easily found online for free in under 30 seconds. So either the thousands of people who bought those courses had no idea internet or AI existed, or everyone who's saying info products are dead are fundamentally wrong about why some courses have stopped selling like they used to. I'll tell you right now, it's the second one. The market has changed, and the people who keep winning have understood what changed specifically. The most obvious change is that the time of A to Z super comprehensive encyclopedia-like courses is over. Nutrition 101 or online marketing 101. AI just completely removed the necessity of that, because now we could have a step-by-step process spit out literally within 10 seconds. And now more than ever, people are buying the transformation and not the information itself. So your course needs to offer something super specific and something super tangible. For example, I don't want generic tips on how to train my brain and cognitive abilities. I want 30 proven tips that will help me to minimize my studying time from 5 hours a week to 1 hour a week. Instead of looking for generic advice, people are increasingly looking for someone from their exact field of expertise, for a person who has delivered results for comparable businesses. So for example, instead of just buying a course on how to gain more followers on social media, someone who owns an e-commerce brand would probably go to an expert who would teach them how to utilize organic social media for D2C brands specifically. Specificity sells. So you really need to know A, which kind of problem you're solving for people, and B, for what kind of people. We're actually back to marketing foundations, where you really need to know what kind of people you're selling to, and not just on the surface level, but really what is it that bothers them? What are their problems? How are they different from other businesses? This is exactly what will help you create an offer that will make them go, oh wow, this is made exactly for me. I need this right now. I'm gonna buy it. As a nice side bonus, specific programs also help you deliver better results to your students. Imagine if you would do a course on how to launch a business, right? Very broad, very generic. And imagine you would cover every single type of business, and then you have students who have D2C brands, you have someone with an online education business, with a brick and mortar business. How could you possibly create a curriculum that's expansive enough to cover the needs of all of those businesses without being generic? You really can't. So you either would have to conflate your curriculum into 100 modules with hour-long lessons, which, by the way, nobody's going to watch that. Nobody's going to get results from that course. Or you'd have to compromise and be super generic and just give them the overall basics and foundations. And that's the exact thing that AI can give them as well. So realistically, creating an online offer that's too broad and is trying to catch all is actually doing a disservice to your audience. And this trickles in into important change number 2. The era of sharing generic information and then being able to charge for it is largely over, because again, there's AI for that, and it can do that much faster in much deeper detail. There is literally no need to pay for a generic how-to instruction. But none of those creators that I mentioned at the start sold generic information. What they did instead was, hey, here's my proven system. Here's how I did it. If you want to replicate these results, here's my product. Go ahead and buy it. So we're switching from generic how-to into the era of personalized how-I. What people want to know now is how you did it specifically with your constraints, with your history, with your limitations. Let's take the example of Linda, the high school girl who made multiple 5 figures selling study tips to high school students. I could go online right now and Claude ChatGPT would spit out like maybe 50 study tips to me in a second. Her product is not original by any measure. So why are people still buying? If I've already saw Linda online, if I've connected with her personal brand, if I'm convinced of the results that she's showing to me, like, oh wow, she's only studies 2 hours a week and she has a perfect 4-point GPA, How is that possible? I want to replicate that, and I want to see what she did specifically. It's not even about finding out completely new information, it's about finding out, so she only focuses on thing A and doesn't pay attention to thing B. Interesting, I can learn from that. See how that's different from approaching it from the lens of, let me teach you everything about how our brain works and functions and how you need to train your memory to remember things better and faster. And this is also what buyers want now from info products online. They rarely, if ever, want the A to Z. They want to see your specific process. So your real lived experience is your moat. Use it. All of the setbacks you overcame, your story, how you got to where you are today. This is your unique advantage that AI can't replicate. This is how people connect to you and your offer. This is what makes them want to buy it. If right about now you're thinking, okay, so how exactly do I put my expertise into a product that will sell? What topic exactly should I go for? I have a free resource that will help you find your $1 million product idea in under 30 minutes. It's a super simple process. I've used it with all of my clients who went on to generate a collective revenue of over 20 million euro. And my favorite part about it is that it unites what really freaking excites you with something that will be extremely profitable and lucrative. Link is in the description below. I was actually just recently talking to a freelancer who was considering launching their own online course, and I told them the exact same thing I told you now. You have to be specific and you have to talk about your lived experience. And their first question was, why would anyone care about what I have to say about it? The answer to that, quite simply, is personal brand. This brings us to change number 3, because personal brand is not only what is going to make people care about your lived experience, it's also sort of non-negotiable in 2026. Now, I'm not going to give you the whole spiel about how personal brand is the only thing that can separate you from AI, because while it's true, you also probably heard it 1,000 times online, but one aspect I don't hear a lot of people talk about is the fact that personal brand is simply not optional anymore. It's a necessity for anyone selling online education products. When I started as a marketer in online education space back in 2018, you could literally automate your entire marketing process. You didn't have to show up on social media, you didn't have to be on YouTube. You could if you wanted to, but people who just didn't want to could just run paid ads to their funnel, and it worked. What I have been seeing as a trend for the past 4 years though, and what has started to intensify, is that this setup is simply not working anymore. People who have no personal brand are either paying a lot more in ad costs and getting less and less profitable to run funnels like this, or their sales are completely non-existent anymore. I think there are a couple of reasons for this. One of them is that we're in the midst of a trust recession. So the first default reaction when somebody sees you or your offer online is distrust. I mean, it really makes sense if you think about the landscape we're in right now. AI deepfakes, any photo, any receipt, any testimonial can be fabricated. So if you target people with ads and they come into your funnel, they see your webinar and they go on to Google you or try to find you on Instagram and you're simply not there, it makes them suspicious. I'm not saying that you need millions of followers, but you need to show that you're active. Your accounts cannot look like you are a fake. And on the flip side of this, it comes back to what we've already discussed with lived experience. It's much harder to build that feeling of, wow, I want to learn with that person specifically, if there is not a lot of touch points you're offering people. If they can only see you through paid ads and through a paid automated funnel, but then they want to learn more from you, they want to find out who you are, and there's just not a lot of information they can go off of, this connection simply doesn't get built. I was at a conference here in Germany recently, and I've interviewed a business owner who's wildly successful. Her business brings in 7 figures a year, and she's a very big proponent of not posting daily on social media. So she's one of those people who will tell you you absolutely do not have to show up online and you can still have a successful business. And it is true for her. While she posts very sporadically and most of her funnel is built on paid ads, A, she still does post every once in a while, and B, she's present at conferences, giving live talks, having a booth at conferences, talking to people one-on-one. So while yes, she might not be active on social media, she still, like the smart business owner that she is, understands that building trust is essential nowadays. So she is still very much building her personal brand. So yeah, if for some reason you're social media averse, you just have to find an alternative way of building your personal brand online. The next decisive factor, which tells me with 90% certainty whether your course will survive the AI revolution or not, is whether or not you're taking care of your students' success and transformation. When I first started in the online education world, one thing that often took me aback is seeing or even buying into offers and then seeing how little effort was actually put into designing a program that would deliver results. Poorly recorded Canva decks where videos would run over an hour. There would be no person, there would be no engaging video. You would just literally look at a PowerPoint flipped through as they read through a script with a robotic voice. A lot of people got burned on pretty badly designed courses, which is why I feel like the entire industry has gotten a little bit of a scammy name to it, but that's about to change because those kind of courses will simply get sorted out in this natural selection process. And I think that's a very welcome change. I've mentioned the trust recession already, and one one side of that coin is that people want to see that you're a real person, and the other side of that coin is that they need to be sure that the offer you're selling will get them results. I know this might sound intimidating because it puts a lot of pressure on you, and you might think to yourself, how can I possibly guarantee that people will get results if it's completely on them to action what they learned or not? And that's true. But what a lot of people keep missing is that curriculum design is literally the easiest fix for this. It's a simple planning process that can take an otherwise average course to a stellar course. And it's actually not even that hard. Like, I'm not even kidding. You could do it in like 30 to 40 minutes for any course. And it's a simple step-by-step process that you follow. It's a process I go through with all of my clients. The more people get results from your course, the more testimonials you will get, the more proof you have for other people who want to join. And so it's this flywheel effect where you only really need to invest just a tiny bit more time at the beginning, but it can yield exponentially better results for you later down the line. Let me know in the comments below if I should do a deep dive on this topic. Now, a sub-trend of this change I started noticing is that a lot of people started switching into high-ticket offers. It's because one-on-one mentorship, high-touch mentorship puts more skin in the game. It's high-ticket, so people are way more likely to follow through. Is it completely necessary? I don't think so, but high-ticket offers usually mean people are a lot more serious about doing the actual work. Another side of that coin is that a lot of people started implementing communities into their offers that used to be fully self-paced. I'm doing that for my business. I'm transitioning right now from offering one-on-one freelance services into launching my own digital product. And I for sure will launch a community to go together with it, because community creates accountability. It helps people upgrade their identities to be the kind of people that achieve that goal that they set out to do. There's also a bunch of research that confirms that when people join a community, they're just much more likely to achieve their goals. So it's a no-brainer to include it into the offer. Does it mean a little bit more work for you? Yes, but I feel like if it's the choice between I will keep my self-paced course and my students will get worse results versus I will invest a little bit more time and they will get better results, the second choice is just a way smarter option for your business down the line. Because if people can trust that your program can deliver them something that AI can't, that accountability, that they will actually finally believe in themselves enough to follow through, this is what it essentially needs to sell your program. This is also why we've seen all of the big online course SaaS companies like Kajabi, Thrivecart, Ablify launch community in the last year or two as their new feature, because they see the internal revenue data and they see that creators who include a community element are a lot more successful than the ones who don't. Now, on a point of including something that AI can't replicate, it doesn't necessarily need to be a community format. It could also just be a perk or a bonus to your course that people can't easily replicate with AI. For example, Shelby Sapp offers a job board for everyone who completes her Seashells She Sells Academy. And so by the time people complete the program, instead of trying to find clients on their own, Shelby has already lined up all of the people who are interested in hiring high-ticket sales closers. People who have been vetted by her, who have done the program, can now get direct access to the clients. This is a real value add, because instead of being set out on their own and having to look for clients themselves, it's now completely integrated into the offer. So we've gotten to the last change already, and it's so painfully obvious that I even feel weird spelling it out, but I am still seeing course creators fall prey to it. So if you can help one person, here we go. You need to stop pretending that AI doesn't exist, and you need to include it into your curriculum if it is changing your field. And seeing that AI is revolutionizing pretty much every area, you probably have to include it in your curriculum. I am not saying you need to do 180 and turn yourself into an AI expert, but I still keep seeing copywriters trying to launch copywriting courses without acknowledging AI, without even uttering the name of AI. I get the idea. You think that if you don't mention it, it's not going to be in your audience's head, but it doesn't work this way with AI. It's so ubiquitous. You cannot really think it away. It's here and it's here to stay, and hiding your head in the sand and just wishing it away will not change anything. Because if people are reading your curriculum and the thought in their heads is, okay, but is this still relevant in the AI world? And you're not answering this question proactively, they will not buy. Easy as that. To be honest with you, I feel quite excited about all these changes. I feel like they strip down all of the unnecessary stuff and they just let us concentrate on one thing we as course creators do well, which is help our students achieve better results. AI didn't kill the online course space. I see it from the numbers of all of my clients. I see behind the scenes of a lot of businesses, and a lot of them are doing record revenues, because they don't ruminate on the fact whether AI killed online courses or not, and instead they're utilizing AI to make their businesses more effective, more efficient. And if you want to learn how to use AI to create your products faster without churning out generic vanilla AI slop, make sure to watch the next video where I walk you through the entire process. See what I did there? Addressed AI in my niche. Smart, huh?